What up, everybody? This your boy Black Magus, and I'm here with my boy Euro Strix. Say what's up to the people.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody?
And we're just doing a little quick take on E3. We haven't been able to get together and do any long collaborative things. We're going to try to save that for when we get together with our boy Flying Modem and have a real deep discussion. But for now, we just wanted to get our quick thoughts on what went on during the E3 press conferences. Right now, at the time of this recording, the Nintendo Treehouse is going on, but of course they've already did their spotlight briefing and shown a couple of things, so we can throw them in if we want. I'm not sure if you want to discuss anything that they had to show or not. But
about them, theirs was short and to the point, like not too big of a thing.
Right. So, your impressions overall?
I think this has been a solid E3. I don't think it was great, and I don't think it was bad. It was just overall solid. I think there were some surprises, some really good surprises, but it wasn't like a whole lot. Like everything surprised me. It was a lot of just, we knew a lot coming in, and then there were the few heavy hitters that we got that were really good to see.
Yeah, I just think everybody kind of kept it simple. Including Microsoft, even though part of their presentation I didn't like, because anybody who knows me knows I'm a stickler for when you talk long periods of time. I hate that. Don't do these long speeches. Like, it was fine in the beginning when you're introducing the Xbox One X. Mm-hmm. That I'm totally down with. But when it comes to these like games like the Forza thing, it's like, no, you don't really need to do that.
So I finally had the benefit of, I believe Microsoft. Was I sitting at my desk on Microsoft? I don't think I was sitting at my desk. So I was kind of moving around doing other stuff. So it didn't seem as bad, I think, to me as other people that were purely watching it. And then with like all the stuff I cared about later in the conference, I really got a chance to focus in and watch that. I think Microsoft is... They did a solid job. Only thing that annoyed me about them was if I hear the words world premiere, 4K, or exclusive one more time, I'm gonna actually like kill somebody at Microsoft.
Yeah, that kind of bothered me, especially since they weren't real exclusive for the most part.
It would be console exclusive, world first console launch exclusive. I'm like, when you have to add 6 words.
Yeah, that's like, because I know people were flipping out when they showed Battlegrounds, and I'm like, calm down. They just said console launch, meaning it's gonna launch first. Which
I think they did solid overall. I was happy with it. It was definitely one of the better conferences for me.
Yeah, I thought they had a good conference.
We'll talk about this more with Modem. I went into it looking as a, what games are they going to show, not sell me an Xbox One X. That is the difference, I think, in going into the conference, how I looked at the entire thing. I wasn't caring whether they tried to sell me an Xbox One X or not, because I wasn't going to buy one to begin with.
Yeah, I was just curious to see if what they were going to show that made me want to like get an Xbox One X. Which, what do you think of the name, really quick?
I think it's fine. I funnily enough like that they finally managed to get the anagram for their console to be Xbox. It only took them 4 consoles. But I don't have an issue with it. Some people call it the Triple X, the Xbox One X. I think since they made the Xbox One S, I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't care. I think whoever works at GameStop or any of these stores is going to suck for it. Because imagine, can I get an Xbox One X? You say S or X?
Yeah, it's funny because I was watching it with SB, and she was like, "Are they saying sex?" So, hey, but honestly, I don't. It's called Scorpio. That would have been cool if they would have left that Scorpio.
Now, with that said, they did show like 43 games.
Yeah, they showed a lot of games.
I'm gonna go in reality. There were not a lot of exclusives from either Sony nor Microsoft this year. They were not like an overwhelming number. They
No,
both had a good
I
handful.
will say this though. Sony did something weird, and I don't know if you noticed it. Did you watch the pre-show?
Mm-mm.
See, and that bothered me about Sony. So at 8 p.m. Eastern time, they started their pre-show, and I put it on. Don't know why, because I thought because the screen that said 8 p.m. the show starts. I thought, oh, are they starting early? And then I realized it was a pre-show, so I just left it on. But during the pre-show, they showed a lot of exclusive content,
Yeah, like
and a lot of new games. Like they introduced the new game that the creators of Until Dawn are working on. Yes.
Whoa.
The creators of Until Dawn have a new game where you play as a police officer who's hunting down a serial killer, and your choices, affect how the case goes and how people will survive and things like that. So they legit showed that.
So now that's something that I want to make a point very clearly about. I sat down right before, or I was playing games, and I happened to turn it on, and I saw the pre-show, and I was like, wait, did the conference start already? And it was like, no. And I saw them showing off Ni no Kuni 2, which had already had its release date announced. And that really surprises me now to say that, like, legit, what they considered their heavy hitters, they saved for the conference, which meant they were more multi-plats than there inherently were.
They showed at least 10 games. At least 10 games during that pre-show.
Now I gotta look up to see. Now I gotta go watch that.
Yeah, it was amazing because they had an interview with Mark Cerny. They did a long thing with Knack 2. They like you said, they showed Ni no Kuni. It was a bunch of other stuff.
With that said, I'm not counting that towards that conference personally because that sounds like a stupid decision.
But I do too, because that would have been a game that would have turned heads.
That would have done a lot of things because it would have just been more things that I loved Until Dawn, and what they did was really interesting. And the idea that,
and they talked about how like they felt like they wanted to make the decisions have more impact and things like that, and how this killer, what he does is he sets up scenarios where you find a victim and you have to choose on how to save them and stuff. It was like the game, they showed gameplay and it looked good. It looked damn good. And it's like
even smaller things that I think it mattered. Undertale on PS4 was announced there. Like those are cult classics that people will be happy to.
Yeah.
And you just Sony. Also, the stream on Twitch was horrible in terms of like constantly buffering.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't even. I know it wasn't my computer because I had like 6 different people consistently saying that. God.
But yeah, they showed some significant content during the pre-show, and I was sitting there like, "What is going on?" So that kind of bothered me.
And I guess since we're on Sony, the brief thoughts about them. Sony has been banking on nostalgia for a long fucking time. And that gets to me because they can get me with nostalgia. You probably already know my favorite announcement out of them. When you announce a remake for one of my favorite games of all time, and you show me a trailer of it in action, they have the best announcement for me. I didn't even think of a Shadow of the Colossus remake coming anytime soon. But beyond that, like I thought their press conference overall was solid. I was happy with it. What I give them credit for was I didn't realize I'd been sitting there for an hour when what's his face? Sean, what's his face, came back on and said, yeah, 60 minutes of games. And I was like, wait, it's been 60 minutes?
Yeah, I thought them just going straight through, having a quick, tight show was good. They didn't show much new.
That's the other thing.
It was cool though to see stuff like Monster Hunter come back.
Yeah. Now those were the really good things. I think that's why, as many people are saying, like Sony did a great job. I don't feel And that's I was thinking about earlier was expectations. Expectations. I knew what to expect out of Sony, and so I guess it didn't have as big of an impact for me personally.
Yeah.
Like when I know that you're going to show Days Gone, which, quick side note, they didn't show Last of Us 2. And I started off last night saying it was because they want to save that for PlayStation Experience. I think they don't want it to compete with Days Gone. Like, the more you talk about Last of Us 2, the more that game has to inherently compete with Days Gone, another zombie-esque post-apocalyptic
and
shooter.
And it would steal the show.
Which makes me wonder why they even bothered to announce that it wasn't developed, maybe just to shut people up. But
probably just shut people up, yeah.
There was a couple things. Like, there were things that, because people were speculating, Kingdom Hearts trailer came out. They said that Kingdom Hearts gameplay and New Worlds wasn't coming until next month at a different conference. And so, like, if you were paying attention to E3, to me, it was announced that Kojima's game, Death Stranding, wasn't going to be there. And so we knew, like, a lot of things weren't going to be there. And we kind of have a clear idea of what was there. But we get Monster Hunter Online, which is multi-plat. We got Shadow of the Colossus, which was, like, to me, the really big, like, surprise. And then there were other games that mixed in there, but we knew the Uncharted, we knew the Days Gone, we knew the God of War. As cool as it was seeing, I can never pronounce his name, the World Serpent. As cool as that was, God, was it like we kind of knew that they were going in a Norse direction with it, and that just kind of 100% confirmed it.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, Sony's was, again, solid. Nobody, to me, just had like this standout conference that nobody else could touch this year. And I always talk about Sony and Microsoft first, because I feel when you have to sell hardware, your conference is very different than any of the publishers out there that are just selling software. They don't have to do as many things. Just because they're not trying to move hardware units, they're trying to just sell their games to you. Now I could ask you, which one of those would you like to jump off at, if you want to cover any of those?
Yeah, I'm skimming through the pre-show and I'm looking at some of the stuff they show, like NAC. Like, they showed the...
Okay, NAC 2 makes sense. NAC 2 you don't put on your stage, because people won't be happy with NAC 2. I don't care how many times you be like, hey, it's better. Like, people would just... You can keep NAC. But yeah, for me, Shadow of the Colossus was easily like what took the show.
But it's like you showed everyone's golf. They showed Gran Turismo.
I mean, like, think about it. They had Call of Duty there. They had Destiny at their show. This was in place of what essentially you could argue were their
They showed
own
Super Hot VR, which I was like, why didn't you?
They showed what?
Super Hot VR.
Oh yeah. But you know what else they showed?
Tropico 6.
All right, so shout out to my dude.
Undertale.
I got to do this. Shout out to my dude, Big Fry. I felt so bad for him. I was having a little bit of fun last night about it, but I do feel legit bad for him. He and Abel are both diehard XCOM fans, and there was this earlier trademark stuff about a thing called Bravo Squad that everybody was really thinking was XCOM or was SOCOM, excuse me. And it turned out to be a VR. And I laugh because for me, I'm not as invested, but I know if they had teased like Shadow of the Colossus coming back and then some other bullshit showed up, I would have been mad. So yeah, shout out to him. I know Sony has really been messing with people in terms of
I think people took that too far, to be quite honest. Like, come on.
Oh, I just found it hilarious for me. Like,
any squad-based game should not be considered SOCOM. I guess that's just the way it's going to be, though.
I feel like Sony is very nicely trying to be like, we're not bringing SOCOM back.
Oh, no, I think they are. I just don't think that they're in a rush. I still believe that. I still believe like they don't have the right studio, or they don't have.
But when I say like, I don't think that I'm talking like next like 3 to 5 years. I don't think we see a SOCOM game in that period of time. I would argue you'll see a Jack and Daxter game before you'll see a SOCOM game come back.
It's funny because I think you will. I think you'll probably hear about it on PlayStation Experience.
But yeah, go buy Shadow of the Colossus.
I think that's another thing too. I feel like Sony has put less precedence on E3.
Yeah, I think all of them have. Microsoft just doesn't have its own conference, and so they don't do that. But like, and that's why I don't think Last of Us 2 was talked about, because why would you show off what is arguably your biggest game in the last generation?
Yeah.
Like, instead, what did we get? We got DLC for Horizon, which who was it that I got really mad at about that? Somebody just released a game. Oh, Bethesda. They talked nothing about Prey. We got like Dishonored DLC and stuff in their conference, but they talked nothing about
Bethesda. How was theirs? People said that theirs.
It started off really slow and bad. They opened up with the fact that Doom and Skyrim are in VR now. Which I made the argument we need more things to sell VR to people. And I guess Skyrim and Doom are both very good candidates for that. Moving beyond those statements, it was very slow when you just had... They announced that basically they wanted to make money off of mods. They're bringing back Creators Club, so paid mods for Fallout 4. Then we got into the interesting thing. I'm going to keep this rest of it brief. The 3 important things to take away from their... or 4 important things to take away from their conference. They're going to have a Quake Championship at QuakeCon. So Quake is officially an esport again. Quake Champions, and it'll be $1 million prize pot. That's the lowest down there. Then in no particular order, you have The Evil Within 2 being announced. You have a standalone chapter for Dishonored focusing on Billy and Dowd, called The Death of the Outsider, I believe it is. But it is about you going after the outsider, which is really important overall to the story, and they're usually good. And then third, but definitely not least, a new Wolfenstein, or Wolfenstein 2 was announced as well. And it seems to be focused around BJ coming to America, as well as just in general his wife, and all the kind of antics of the original.
Okay.
It was like it was a conference that started off bad and got to a solid point. And the announcements came at the end, and they had enough announcements to where, again, they're a publisher. There's only so many games. Saying that, I think you would have. I don't know if you would have disliked them as much as I did. They did this whole Bethesda world thing where they were jumping between their games like it's a theme park, and it just got fucking annoying to me.
Funny.
That I just was like, I don't care anymore.
I heard the Devolver thing was like a big joke.
Oh my god, Devolver was so good.
I heard they were just basically
it was super satire, just going at like everything. If you have like half an hour to an hour, watch it. It's ridiculous, over the top, and it goes from being like kind of cringy to straight up funny, because you can see all the jokes they're making. They're just making fun of E3 conferences, and they even tweet out beforehand, we're not showing off any new games. Like they tweeted out all that stuff to let people know, like, you don't have to watch this. This is pretty much gonna be a giant joke.
Us being dickheads.
It was funny. It was legit funny. Like, purely for that reason, they didn't. It's when everybody else is taking it super seriously, unnecessarily. They're kind of like, well, we'll show you just how serious we can take it. Like, they just came up with stupid stuff. The newest in the earliest access content. So as soon as it's an idea, you can pay somebody to. You can pay somebody before they even create anything for it, or comment generated content where your comments affect the game. Like, it's just stupid stuff where, and they're like, how these are the newest features and cutting edge, bleeding edge technology that are for you, and you will give us your money. And it was just so on the nose that it was good.
That's funny.
I think, did we talk about EA? I don't remember if we actually had a conversation.
No, we did. We didn't have a conversation about EA. Do we have to have a conversation about EA?
I know you're mad. You're probably a lot madder. Like, I found EA to be just okay. Like a literal just, they had a conference.
Yeah.
It was just, that's all it was. Surprisingly, I'm actually more interested in Battlefront 2 than I was previously. But not a whole lot to say on EA.
No, it's again, talking. And what I hate worse is when you do dev diaries in between your conferences. God damn it, EA. What? Why do you like doing that? It's disgusting. But moving on, Bethesda was cool. I mean, not Bethesda. Ubisoft was cool.
All right, Ubi hurt me. They didn't bring back Aisha Tyler. You already lost.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
She is single-handedly the best host, has been for years now, of E3, and you didn't bring her back.
Maybe it was a time thing.
Maybe.
Because I feel like everybody was trying to be as short and concise as possible, with the exception of EA, who dragged on.
Like EA was on day one too. Like EA, and I'm just gonna say this going forward to anybody out there. EA is literally gonna give half to 75% of their conference to their sports titles because that's where they make their actual money. Like, don't expect them to just randomly decide.
I felt bad for those guys because you could tell they knew they were up there dying. They were like, yeah, we know this is bad people coming, but they're paying us, so.
Yeah. Although that chick that they brought out for Battlefront caught my attention.
Oh, yeah. And it's funny because I actually known about her for a while. She does a lot of voice acting for games. She's a huge gamer.
She caught my attention. I mean, I was like, huh? What? Oh, you. What?
Oh. Yeah. But nah, Ubisoft, I guess they just wanted to keep it short, sweet.
Although they did a really good thing. You know, they had to get, they were like, oh, yeah, at the very end, we'll give y'all something.
Yeah, because they didn't really have a lot of big surprises. The new stuff that they showed, to me, really didn't like, oh, okay. That's cool, but it didn't make you like Skull and Bones seems interesting.
Now, that is, I'm really happy about. I've been saying since Assassin's Creed 3, because it was the best thing in the game, they should make a standalone pirate game.
Yeah.
And I'm happy they're finally doing it. Like, a standalone pirate game is definitely...
Yeah, that should be cool. But, you know, of course, beyond good and evil, they finally gave everybody what they want.
God. Like, I think that would be this year's E3. What you expected with a few surprises. That would be how I define this year's E3.
Yeah, there really wasn't anything like stand out. It's like, honestly, thinking about it, this quick take could be all I need to say about fucking E3 because it was cool. Got to see some cool stuff. Yeah, that's it. I think the floor stuff is going to be probably more interesting because maybe we'll get some announcements of some new games there, things like that.
I think me and Modem will have a great discussion about Microsoft's conference.
Yeah, I can see that because it's going to be a weird three-way dynamic.
I can like the funny thing is mine is I can already say I liked it.
Yeah, it's cool. I have no interest in getting it, but it's cool.
But that's the thing, I have a PC, so I just care about the games they showed.
And that's the biggest problem that's going to always sit with me. You put all of your best exclusives on PC. And because I already have one, I don't see a reason to buy that. It is funny because I saw him making the arguments on Twitter after the conference. Like,
I still think that there's a legit argument for the Xbox One X. Look, they're claiming 4K. All I say is, look, if you can do 1080p 60 consistently, then you got it.
Yeah, that would be fine with me. But yeah, it is what it is, people. Hey,
I'm
good
happy to
on you,
say
Microsoft.
I'm happy to say I was right though. I'm just look. I'm gonna hold that. They weren't going below 5. I knew they weren't going below 5. There was no way in the hell.
Yeah, they probably couldn't have.
Now the funny thing is they dropped the Xbox One S for a limited time. I believe the 250.
Right.
Which tells me like if you don't have an next-gen console, buy an Xbox One XS. Like if you just want to play Destiny 2, that's the best way to get in. And then it's coming out that Destiny 2 on the Xbox One X will still be 30 FPS.
So it doesn't matter. Like I said, I didn't think they would do that. Oh well, yeah. Who else had it? Was that all the conferences?
EA. Then after EA, we went to.
Well, there was a PC gaming show, which I was surprised that Intel.
I still like. I don't care what anybody has to say. I appreciate that show.
Over. I was surprised Intel took over though. But I was interested in hearing about the new.
I believe. No, they didn't. I thought AMD had an announcement, but they didn't. But yeah, we got XCOM 2 with a new expansion. If you care about XCOM 2, June 20th, this will also date the video to some degree, but June 20th, I'll be doing a playthrough of XCOM 2, so come through. Age of Empires got a definitive edition.
Yeah, I was kind of happy to see that because that was a game I poured so many hours into back in the day.
Total War 2, which you already knew existed, but they gave us a release date. 1 second. BattleTech is getting a game. PlayerUnknown's. I mean, this is all stuff we knew about it, but that's nice. Arma is getting a lighthearted survival game. What else is there? Don't Starve and the makers of Mark of the Ninja got a new RPG called Griftlands, which looked kind of interesting. And the Lawbreakers is going to have two more betas along with a release date, which is August. Yeah. Shadow of War gets DLC stuff, and Shadow of War stuff that got pushed back. Killing Floor 2, they had a good amount of stuff, but it was very much talk showy. And if you don't like the talking, like you said,
yeah,
it's not for everybody.
Maybe it would be if they had a different host. Day 9's not the best.
I think that's the issue. I've been watching Day 9 for going on like 10 years, so I find him funny and entertaining, and I think that it works fine. But that's because I'm also very much used to him. I don't know who they could get to fill in that side of things. Like, I like the fact that their conferences, their talk show is very different than everybody else's.
I guess. Whatever.
So now apparently this just came out. I just saw this on Twitter. Rocket League will be getting crossplay.
Yeah, it's going to be on the Switch and it's crossplay.
Xbox One, Switch, and PC, but no PS4.
So I find very strange.
Yep. Just gonna toss that out there. That's really interesting. Goodness.
Oh, that should be cool.
Yeah.
No, I just saw another tweet. So at 12 p.m. Pacific, which I guess is a few minutes from for us, 3 o'clock. Bungie's going to be having a panel for D2. Guess who's going to be on it?
Goff?
No, the Big Show.
Huh?
You didn't know? The Big Show is a huge Destiny fan. He plays the shit out of that game and loves it. I actually watched a video with him talking about how much he likes it and the things that he had issues with and all of that.
I'm not.
Of course, you know what he means.
Look, I'm just gonna know we're fine.
Your name's Titan.
I mean, that's smart, but even still,
So,
I can't.
yeah. No, you'd be surprised at how many people. Paul George is huge. He loves doing raids on his off time. Demetrius Johnson from UFC.
No, like I get Destiny's popular. I just please don't get us back to where like Jason Derulo when people are on or Drake is on stage.
Well, no, because again, I've watched a video of him talking about it. He knows his stuff. This isn't just somebody who just, oh, I just like to play video games, so I picked up this game and I thought it was cool. No, he's like fucking. You and him would have a great conversation because he's all about everything, the lore, all that shit. Like you would love having a discussion with.
I mean, look, I don't doubt that. I just make the point, like I don't, like. See, all right, I'm the weird person. I'm gonna clarify that I am the weird person. I continue to be the weird person. I like when devs talk about their game, but you got to get the right dev, not anybody.
Well, no, they're gonna be Bungie people there talking, but he's gonna be with them.
God,
I think that's pretty cool. Oh.
I think it'll be cool. It's just, can I just get more Destiny 2 information? I want the game. Also, the release date of the game got pushed up 2 days.
Yeah, and they already announced the beta and all of that. So
betas.
I know PC people are mad.
Nah, the game's delayed. It's whatever.
Yeah, that always happens. But yeah, that's pretty much it for our brief, quick take on E3. Like you said, it was cool. It was solid. It was, yeah, nothing demonstrative. Nothing too fancy.
But I kind of like that about E3. I kind of, for once, am happy to sit down and say, like, no, there isn't like a clear-cut winner. There isn't this like, because to me, that as much as people talk about it, that's part of the whole console war bullshit that perpetuates in gaming.
Exactly.
Everybody is always looking for a winner as opposed to saying like what actually is coming out.
Exactly. I'm more concerned about the content. I don't care if you won in whatever, or I guess people want to be impressed, amazed. I don't know what it is. Me personally, just show me some cool stuff. I don't necessarily need you to blow my mind every time. Like I was happy with the Spider-Man stuff.
I jokingly said, by the way, I jokingly said while watching it, yes, I was happy about it. I was like, and what if they made this Miles Morales? And everybody was kind of like, they wouldn't do that.
And then you see Miles at the end.
It was so good.
Oh, that was great. So good.
I'm just waiting for the anti-hype now because it's Miles Morales and not Peter Parker. I'm just waiting for the anti-hype that inevitably shows up. God.
No, that's great. Because it means that it makes sense too, because everybody was sitting here trying to figure out, okay, when is it coming out? It's going to be tied into the movie, right? The movie comes out this summer. We need to like put it together with the movie. What are they going to do? What's Sony going to do to cross promote and things like that? Now you don't have to worry.
Yep, they put it to 2018 and took off Homecoming off the title.
Exactly. Made it its own game.
Yep.
So I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Happy with that. All right. Well, thank you, sir, for joining me.
No problem. It's always fun.
We'll do some more long format stuff.
I can't wait.
It's going to be an interesting conversation because, yeah, it's going to be an interesting conversation. Definitely. But yeah, Xbox One X people, get ready. Get ready. Anyway, you can check out my boy Yost Ricks, of course, on his Twitch channel under the same name.
Twitch.tv/Rosewill.
On Twitter, same name. And of course, we will be doing more featured content on Wise Guy Gaming, Sports Entertainment. So look out for those videos where we get together and we yell at each other for hours about video games and stuff, which it should be a very good conversation. Very, very good conversation indeed. So with that, again, thank you for joining me, sir. And we will see you next time, everybody. Peace.
Peace.